Greetings, you Hero Forged and single piece models. We're back once again. We're here talking about the Dungeons and Dragons frameworks. So you might be thinking to yourself, okay, so I have a mini that I need made up for a D&D campaign, right? So what do? So the options up until very recently were go dig up something in the, $1.5 million Wizkids.
Or the Reaper Bones.
But Wizkids if you want a not ancient-looking model. Reaper has gotten a lot better.
The Bones USAs are a lot better.
Yeah, very recently.
And they're changing most of their models to Bones USA for that reason.
Yes. Or, you go digging for Wizkids. Or you gin up something from Warhammer Fantasy or what have you. And then WizKids said, hey, you know what? We want more market share, so let's try and dig it up somehow. And created the Frameworks line, of which we're going to talk to you about today.
So the Frameworks,
yes.
So the difference between the Frameworks and WizKids' previous models,
yes,
is that so these are actually two Magic the Gathering models, so maybe a poor choice because they're not D&D. But these are the Throbbing Inspector
enough,
and some other guy. I can't remember. I don't play Magic. Sorry.
But these are Innistrad characters, which is important.
The notable thing about WizKids is that they are two things. A, they are pre-primed, as they all say on the box.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are pre-painted. You can buy those too.
Yeah.
And B, they're all one piece.
Single piece, yep.
Sometimes they come in a couple pieces.
Right. If they're the big ones, sometimes you have to plug an arm in here and there.
Some of the little ones you do too.
Yeah.
But in general, they're usually one piece.
Mm-hmm.
Frameworks are D&D's minis on sprue, which means you have to clip them and assemble them with glue. They're not push fit or anything like that. You have to have some way to stick them together. So it's kind of odd because they're kind of competing with themselves.
Yeah, who is this for?
Well, that's kind of what we want to get into, I guess.
Yeah.
So I have two minis that I bought too. I bought the Dragonborn Paladin, and I have assembled him right here.
Yes. Sorry, let me get my arm out of the way.
That is my Dragonborn Paladin.
Ta-da! Look at him in his Dragonborniness.
Something worth noting, here's the back of the box. Ding. As you can see, if it wasn't for the glare, there are a lot of different options.
Yes.
So in general, there are basically two different ways to build this guy. With and without helmet, with a two-handed claymore like I did, or with a flaming sword and shield. Various, if you have the shield, various symbols on the shield. With or without a cape, and with or without a bedroll. So that's kind of the big thing that they're doing here, is it's minis with options on sprue. Because our Magic minis here, also from WizKids, but our One-Piece minis.
These are D&D minis with the Magic the Gathering branding on them.
Still the same company.
Yeah.
Those are one piece. You don't have any options about how you want to build those. So that's the big difference. I also bought the Mind Flayer here, who is also the same price. Also a hero. Ding.
Not a hero.
Also has, a hero character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, maybe you're playing a Mind Flayer. You know.
Also comes with an Intellect Devourer, which is kind of cool.
Yep. And also comes with different options. 2 different heads. You can have him holding a staff or a skull or a brain. And 2 different right arms. So the name of the game with Frameworks is being able to change out your options, right? So the question is it better? How do they stack up?
I want my $15 back.
So that's the other thing, is that the Frameworks minis are $15 MSRP.
For a single model, as opposed to maybe $6.
I got these 2 for $5.99.
Yeah. There's the Tireless Tracker and the other one
Draven Inspector.
Yeah. These are $6 for the Magic D&D minis. The D&D specific ones I've seen anywhere from was like $4.99.
I have a slightly bigger pack here.
Okay.
Arlen Cord and Tovalar for $10.
Right.
These are slightly bigger minis, as you can see. But either case, you're getting multiple minis for less money.
Yes. You can customize this. Oh, goody. Like, I've I've known how to customize minis and stuff like that before too, you know.
Well, to be fair, I think that's what we're getting at here is who's the target audience. I don't think Wizkids or frameworks are targeted at expert mini players.
Right.
And that's the world we're in. We're used to Games Workshop minis where you have to put everything together and it's very high detail plastic.
Yes.
These are not that. But how do they compare? So you had to build it, right?
Yeah.
How was the build experience?
Miserable.
Really? Why?
Because there's no pegs for anything to go into. So Games Workshop stuff has little, when there's an armhole that goes there, there's a little section that the glue sits in very nicely, and you hold it there, and it stays. As you can see with this rogue, this tiefling rogue that I've got, her ding-dang arm came off. And this was not, this was from me putting it in the box, and the arm popped right off. I had... I spent minutes upon minutes trying to get this blade to stick up right when it didn't need to. It's a flat surface here. What this screams to me is people who were used to making miniatures like this in one solid piece were told split it up. And they said, okay, here's the split. And didn't make the necessary changes that you have to get something that goes on sprue and stays on sprue, and you don't have to worry about it. The sprues are also enormous, by the way. They're like 90s GW, like huge gaps in all of it. If you've got that one handy, like look at the massive space taken up by all this stuff. Whereas I'm thinking of stuff from like Titan Forge, which is, super compact. It comes on like half this big and it comes in like 3 pieces. Sure. But like, whatever, dude. This is, I could drive a car through here.
Well, I don't think I had maybe this might be down to the mini then.
Yeah.
Because
maybe.
You can actually see on the back of the box here with the Dragonborn Paladin, there are notches where like the arm sits in the shoulder.
Yeah.
So I did not have nearly as much trouble finding out how to make these things stick to itself.
Right. Well, lucky you.
I also found out quite nicely that the customization, so the cape can be attached or not.
Yeah.
Right? And whether or not the cape is attached, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, it looks right with or without the optional attachments. Like, I have the cape on, but I don't have the bedroll on. And I think it looks fine. The detail, so let's talk about detail.
Yeah.
So the actual carved detail is not quite like Games Workshop quality. This is hard plastic. It does work with plastic glue.
Yes.
I can confirm that. But if you look at like the underside here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's not, that's, or the pattern, that's not going to compare to Games Workshop plastic.
No.
Which it's not meant to. This is also half the price of a Games Workshop hero, so
Right. So
let's not even go there.
Do with that.
I don't
what you
think
will.
those two things are competing in the same market.
No.
But is it a much better quality than our Thraben Inspector here, or our Tireless Tracker?
Or if you go out, if we went out right into the shop right now and we looked up a Dragonborn Paladin, is it better quality? Because you'll get 2 Dragonborn Paladins for a quarter of the price of this thing.
And the answer is the details are a little sharper.
Just a smidge.
The plastic itself is also a little firmer. So, like, I've got Mr. Inspector here.
Yeah.
And
you're going to have,
he's got a case of bendy sword. Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Yep.
Whereas he does not have a case of bendy sword.
No.
I will also say that the mold lines are much, much easier to scrape off of the Frameworks minis.
Right.
Whereas scraping the mold lines off of any WizKids stuff is a chore. It is a giant pain. You cannot use a mold line scraper. You have to use a knife, and you have to basically slice them or even file them off.
Yeah, it's a fool's errand.
They're often placed very poorly, like ridiculously poorly, like on faces or major details. So I found building these to be a much more pleasant experience than cleaning up a WizKids pre-primed.
Okay.
I will say that much. I did not like it so much that I'll be buying more of these for 4 times the price, because you get 2 minis for the pre-primes. You only get 1 mini. Or if you're comparing these to Reaper Bones, the detail is, I would say equivalent to Bones USA.
Yeah.
It's better than the old Bones plastic,
Mhm.
the white plastic, the PVC. And it is still a firmer plastic than Bones USA. But Bones USA has almost as much detail and is, again, a third of the price because a Bones Mini tends to go for $5.
Yeah.
MSRP for a human-sized mini.
Give or take, yeah. Yeah, so here's the thing. If you want to make frameworks worth it, right? I have thoughts on this. Maybe you have thoughts on this too. If you want to make frameworks a thing, then you need to make it so it's not generic. It needs to be specific to something you're not putting out right now. Like, okay, I've got a kind of piratey, maybe looking tiefling rogue here. Maybe she's like, again, maybe she's like a tireless tracker. You can see there's some fairly similar. Maybe she's in Innistrad or something. You need to make something. You need to make frameworks something you can't get anywhere else. And that will start to justify some of this stuff. But until, like, if I can go out and I can pick up a Dragonborn Paladin for even $7, or if I can go onto Hero Forge and get it sent to me, customized how I want it, and even you can even get them painted now through Hero Forge, for, I would say, maybe a little bit more than a cost of a frameworks thing, but you don't have to put it together. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. Basically, I'm going on mini rundown record as saying that frameworks is too little too late.
Okay. Well, so some things. First off, the problem is the more specific you make it, the fewer people will want to buy it.
Right.
These are generic. This is a generic Dragonborn Paladin. It is a generic tiefling, but that's the idea. There is going to be you want to sell your Dragonborn Paladin to any kind of paladin.
Right.
So that's why they have a holy sword option with a shield and a claymore option, because most paladins are going to be rocking one of those two things.
Probably, yes.
Big sword or small sword and shield. Most tiefling rogues
are going to have two swords or one sword and a hand crossbow or something.
It's also worth noting it is early. They could come out with more.
Oh, yes.
As for Hero Forge, Hero Forge is probably the biggest competitor, but Hero Forge quality is far worse.
Oh, yeah.
Hero Forge is also far more expensive. You're talking $30 to get a printed mini. In color, it's more. The color minis are also much lower quality than this. I have one.
Oh, yeah.
I should have brought that in. I didn't realize that would be a point of comparison.
Oh, sorry.
But
should have told you.
Yeah, Hero Forge color ones are, I don't even think, in the same league.
No.
Those are Hero Forge's main draw is customization, not detail, because they're not particularly detailed.
Yeah.
But you can build whatever you want. We'll leave out 3D printing because that is something that is a
that's
hobby in of itself. I know that's your thing, but there's a hobby in of itself.
I've printed many a thing.
The idea is that these are supposed to be accessible. The problem is, for me, I think that as far as accessibility goes,
they've got the market cornered.
The Wizkids pre-primes are more accessible.
Yeah.
Because, yes, you can build this guy one of two ways, but I'm pretty sure there are already 4 or 5 different Dragonborn Paladins in the Wizkids pre-primed line.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to bring up Reaper Bones, because, of course, even if Reaper has their own dragon folk, which
or
they do, they're called, I forget what they're called. The main thing is they have tails, which Dragonborn and D&D do not.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't
Whatever.
I don't know. I don't want to get into that fight.
That's nothing. You should see what they've got on their chests.
I don't see. Yeah, it's weird that they're releasing this when they already have their pre-primed line. Because to me, the only benefit is that they're slightly easier to deal with. But if you're somebody who's just buying one of these things because you want to get it on the table because you're an RPG player, you probably don't care as much.
I know.
Not for twice the price.
That
being said,
it also says on the back of the box here, not for children. This is a product for adult collectors, which
that's just something they put.
Right, but there might be a little bit something more to it. Maybe they're expecting, like, hey, I love Dungeons and Dragons, but I won't touch Games Workshop with the 10-foot pole. Well, there are some people like that, and like, well, maybe I want something a little bit better. Like, and I've been tempted by the Games Workshop Siren for so long that I'm thinking about it. Oh, wait, here's Frameworks. I don't have to give money to GW.
Yeah.
And now I can call myself a proper modeler.
I guess my problem with this is that they're more customizable than Wizkids. Or I keep saying than Wizkids. It's still Wizkids.
Yeah.
If they're more customizable than the pre-primes.
Yeah.
But only slightly more. There's only 2 or 3 options. Some of the bigger monsters have more options than that.
Right. As you must.
But yeah, there are far better options out there for just as minis that are almost as customizable. Or you can just hunt through the bin of Reaper or Wizkids and find something that's close enough. I don't think this is going to get anybody closer to their exact specific character than they would find going through the Wizkids bin, is my point.
For sure.
That's kind of where it falls down for me. And that would be fine if they were not twice the price.
Yeah.
There's been a bit of an internet meme going around about the Kobolds being $50 for 7 of them, which is a ludicrously high price for a bunch of really tiny kobolds that aren't that good.
Yeah. Hey, you want to know how you can solve that, or you can get a better deal out of that? You can pick up the the Swamp of the Hydra, which comes with. No, I'm thinking of a different one. Steamforged Games has a set of kobolds with a kobold queen or something. Or maybe it's goblins, but kobolds and goblins are the same friggin' thing, and don't you lie to me. But the point is that box comes with hard plastic like this. Yeah, they're monopose, whatever. You get like 20 of them for like $35.
Yeah.
7 orcs for $50. Or I could go and get, I could spend that same $50 on these 3. I'm sorry, I'm throwing them around at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
but,
that's why it broke, CJ.
yeah, whatever. But yeah, I could spend that same $50 on, packs of D&D of these pre-primes, and and then they'll get killed, and that's okay because that's what they're there for, because they're the bad guys. I'm not buying. I'm probably not going to buy any more of these unless they get something really specific that I want.
Yeah, and maybe that's what they're going for eventually, but they started out generic because they didn't want to go too specific to start with. They wanted to get people more generically. Closing thoughts from me. The detail is nice.
Yeah.
It looks like a highly detailed board game mini, but not a highly detailed hard plastic mini.
No.
Again, that is coming from someone who plays a lot of games. Workshop games, so my bar is high, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But I would rather spend less money on a Reaper Bones mini for something that's just as good, or almost as good. I don't think I'll be buying any more. I'm going to put the Mind Flayer together because I do like Mind Flayers.
Yeah, they're cool.
And I also have a personal hatred for the Wizkids. Like, the good ones are great, the bad ones are terrible.
Oh, yeah.
That's my read on, like, Wizkids pre-primed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Stay tuned for our Wizkids pre-primed review. The good ones are great, the bad ones are terrible.
Done.
That's it for our Wizkids pre-primed review.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When they're good, they're good. When they're bad, they're atrocious.
Don't like to forget and subscribe.
Yeah.
But I don't think these... I'm probably gonna buy more Wizkids pre-primes that scratch specific itches. I'm not gonna buy any more framework ones unless they scratch a real specific itch, and I don't think they're going to.
Yeah. So Watsy, I know you're not listening, so I'm gonna give you some free advice. If you want to make frameworks a thing, you need to do a soft relaunch of this stuff with a new book from Dungeons and Dragons
that contains things that you can only find in this set.
Yeah.
So you want them to Games Workshop it.
If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So my
poison for the goose is poison for the gander, CJ.
It's true, yeah. But like, here's the thing: people who are buying D&D minis, who would be buying the pre-prime stuff for their D&D campaigns, aren't buying Games Workshop stuff.
No,
they're in it, and yo, we love new campaign settings. New campaign settings make bank. And if you tie it into frameworks all of a sudden, then you have a way to get people, you have a way to get butts in seats. And it doesn't have to be super expensive, and you don't have to buy 800 different splat books for this. You buy one campaign setting book.
And they have done that previously with Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
Yeah.
And the lines of minis that came out with those, both pre-painted and unpainted. They tend to come out a little bit after the campaign, I imagine just due to delay.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, that would be an idea. I think they just need to release. If you're gonna make customizable minis, give me more customization for that price. Don't give me 2 options.
Yeah.
And charge me twice as much. Because if you're only giving me 2 options and charging twice as much, I could just get 2 minis for the same thing and get to use both those options. That's the big thing for me. They're competing against themselves in this market, and that seems very odd to me.
Yeah, for sure. And what's the cost of a STL file from Hero Forge?
Yeah,
$7, $8, I think.
Well, those are also really kind of bad.
Right, but you can get a lot of mileage out of them.
True.
And again, we're coming at this from miniature modelers, not from I need to get some D&D mini on the table. Right.
We'll have to ask Happy what he thinks.
But
I think I know what he's going to say is I'm not spending $15 on a single mini that I have to put together.
Yeah.
His response is going to be, or I could buy 1 or 2 for
$6.
$6 and not have to put them together.
Simple as.
Yeah, I think if you're going to require people to assemble them, you have to make it worth their while, and I don't think they pulled that off.
Yeah, when I first heard about frameworks, I was expecting sprues with every single weapon option, everything.
Have you seen the Frostgrave sprues?
No, I haven't.
For any Frostgrave or Stargrave minis?
No.
That's what I was expecting. You get
I have seen the Stargrave.
You get like
sprues.
4 bodies and a bunch of heads and weapons to design whatever you want. That's what I was expecting. That would have knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, that would have done it.
But instead, if I'm going to get a wizard, I'm just going to go do the Frostgrave thing. And if I'm going to get a knight, I'm going to buy the Frostgrave knights. Like, they're so much cooler, and you get so many more of them for like $25.
Yeah. Again, I don't. I think this is Wizkids and Wizards of the Coast looking at the landscape and not looking down far enough. Like they look down only so far, and then they just see their massive brass balls, and they don't see anything else past that. It's always darkest under the lighthouse, and most of these miniatures are hanging out right at the base.
Sure.
That's a tortured metaphor, I know. But
yeah,
I'm trying. Damn it, I'm trying.
Well, anyway, so yeah, this is a pass from me, and I think a pass from you.
Definitely.
Shout out down below if you have, if maybe you're the target audience and we just don't know it.
Yeah, please explain to me why you're the target audience.
Justify your existence.
Not so much, but like if there's something we desperately just missed with this, like please tell us. Because I'd love to know what I'm missing.
Yeah, it's very possible.
I know jokes and funny. Like no, seriously. Like if we are glossing over something because we're GW gamers and that sort of thing, like by all means please educate us. But if we're not, and this is actually as lousy as we think it is.
Oh, we'll see you in the WotC re-education camps.
Oh yeah.
See you next time.
I love Dominaria. See ya.